Welcome to CSL Dallas, located in the heart of Texas and heard around the world. Together, we are building a spiritual community where we can be our most authentic self. And we invite you to go deeper into spirituality and apply universal principles as we are transforming the world one life at a time. And today is a very special winter solstice where we are learning to love the darkness with Dr. Petra Weldes. So we are grateful you are here with us in community, on campus, and online. So now, let's get ready for an amazing celebration full of music, message, and connection with our CSL Dallas music team and band.
And I have the privilege of being your platform assistant this morning. So let's begin by stating our purpose. We are radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, and transforming lives. And so it is. Hey, we want to begin by giving a massive thank you to everyone who has donated to our Bear and Blanket in Every Chair campaign. With your support, we had 155 bears and 107 blankets. You guys are too quick. I got another line before I say applause, okay? We donated those to deserving families through the Cardboard Project. Now, let's give a round of applause to everyone for their overwhelming support. Such a fast group, such a fast group. Hey, you can kick off the new year right with CSL Dallas community. Do it with our annual New Year's Day Burning Bowl ritual. It will start at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time online and in person. It'll be led by Reverend Marquita, and we will release anything that no longer serves us back in 2025 and ignite our 2026 with a powerful ritual of transformation where we would literally ignite the light for our new year. Lastly, Reverend Marquita will take it a step further by offering a workshop on the first Sunday of January the 4th. This is an interactive and engaging session where we will do a number of things. We'll explore how our self-talk profoundly shapes our creative outcomes. We'll learn how to wipe the mental slate clean and approach new ideas with fresh spiritual clarity. We'll experience the creative process firsthand and gain practical tools to use it effectively in your daily life. and experiment with past experiences and perspectives to intentionally create exciting new possibilities for your future. And our Joy Village will host a lunch before the workshop starts, and all the proceeds will support our youth program. And childcare is provided throughout the workshop. So head over to CSLDallas.org and click on the events tab, and then go to courses and workshops to learn more and get registered. Now let's settle into this morning with our music team, Aaron and Candy and Aaron and Glenda and Stephanie and Willeen, along with our CSL band, Brad, Jonathan, and Matt. And then we're going to go within with our spiritual culture. Thanks.
Center, that place of love, where the I that is I am knows it is alive and present right here, right now. Knowing that that love that we breathe in is the love of life, the love of presence, the love of being. And exhaling our breath into that all and total of life, ever present, that light that is never extinguished, that love that is never disconnected, that peace and wholeness that is at the very center of each and every person within the sound of my voice. It is the nature of life. It is the nature of us. That embodiment of love, that embodiment of light, that expression of spirit into life, being all that we and it can be. Knowing no matter what the appearance of darkness, no matter how long the longest night, the sun will surely rise, the world, our hearts, our consciousness actively choose to turn towards the light. Present in our hearts as love, here and now. Knowing that eternal light forever blooms and forever shines, we also celebrate not only Solstice, but the last night of Hanukkah. And so the light that is the hope, the light that calls us to the sacred, the light that shines beyond despair, the light that is life and love. Praised are you, the eternal source of life in the universe, who teaches us the holiness and sanctity of life and calls us to kindle the Hanukkah lights. Blessed is the eternal, the source of all life, who performs miracles in the days of our ancestors and present today, right here, right now, in each of our lives, in each of our hearts. For we know the miracle happens right here and right now. Breathing in that light of love, being that love in the presence of life. We know life is for life. We center in, we anchor in, we lean in, we trust in. And we affirm this together by saying, and so it is.
a full and rich and beautiful day today. So it is my greatest pleasure to welcome back to our platform, and we haven't seen him in a long time, but he used to be our guitarist, Steve Curry. So Steve also has now 3 bands, the Texas Gypsy, which they travel all over the country. They've even done their beautiful show in Dubai. He has a 50s and 60s rock band, a rockabilly band. They're all over the city. You can see them. He also is lured away as music director to Reverend Lee Wallach up at Agape in Frisco. And we're so excited that you were able to take your music there, but we were a little sad. So we're really, really, really happy. I talked to Steve, I reached out to him and said, you know, we're going to do a Melissa Etheridge song. We really need you and your guitar. And he said yes. So, super grateful. Just a tiny little story. I went to Trans-Siberian Orchestra last night, which was fabulous. And my son was learning the guitar years and years ago. He used to be in the sound booth, and he wrote a letter. Oh, there was a radio station, and he wrote a letter, and he said, I want the free tickets. And he said whatever he said about learning how to play guitar and at his church and with Steve and all of this stuff. And that boy won 2 tickets, and he did not take his mother. He took Steve Curry. And you were such a gift to such a young man. And the way that you supported him, he still talks about. Steve, thank you so much. Thank you for being here today. So I'm going to invite Gary Buckminster up with me. So Gary is part of our ritual team and the design master behind a lot of what you see. And so what we're going to do is, while we're preparing, while this song is going on and Steve is sharing his beautiful guitar music, we're going to be lighting the Yule tree.
time in late December, the sun stands still in winter. For 3 days, 3 long nights, throughout time we watched the sky and waited for the sun to come and save us. Save us from the longest night. For years I was doing things and singing songs that don't make any sense. But if I scratch the surface just a little bit, the holiday paint is very thin. Look to the sky with hope and wonder. Yeah, there's a star in the east to guide us home, and we are closer now than we ever been to peace on earth, goodwill to men, as we celebrate the longest night. Oh, night divine. Oh, night. Oh, night
Glenda, Steve, Matt, Jonathan, and Brad, thank you so much. And thank you to the magnificent Melissa Etheridge for that fabulous song. That is off her Christmas album, New Thought Christmas. Just saying. Just saying. Yeah. Whew. What do you think? It's pretty cool, right? So this is a Yule tree, and yes, it has no top because it's not a Christmas tree. It's a Yule tree, so it has no ornament at the top. And this is an opportunity for us to celebrate this ancient moment, ancient holiday. Of course, the winter solstice happens everywhere, all over the world. And in the southern hemisphere, it's in the summer. So it's not the winter solstice. It's actually their summer solstice. And it's intriguing to remember or to realize that despite the fact that half of the United States is in the southern part, it's warm, it doesn't necessarily get snow, and in most of the English-speaking countries anyway, in a lot of other places, we celebrate the holidays with snow despite the fact that we don't have any. My sister was married to a Kiwi from New Zealand, and she went there for Christmas one year, and their celebration was a Barbie out on the beach. They surfed, played in the sand, and they still gave each other Christmas cards with sleighs and snow. Why? Because the tradition that has birthed the Christmas tree actually comes from the winter solstice as it was celebrated decades, centuries, millennium ago in the north, in northern Europe, Russia, that whole area that we're going to talk about a little bit, which is why we celebrate it all over the world, because this tradition came from a fir tree growing in the snow, staying green all year, with candles and berries and pine cones put on it to decorate. The winter solstice, the Yule tree, is the precursor to the tree that we all have, if you're celebrating this, to the tree that we have in our own homes. But I want to talk about loving the darkness. So much about the winter solstice is about the darkness. And so much of it is about how we have to overcome the darkness. But I want to talk about loving the darkness. I want to start with a poem by Maria Wilke. I love the dark hours of my being, it's entitled. I love the dark hours of my being. My mind deepens into them. There, I can find, as in old letters, the days of my life already lived and held like a legend and understood. Then the knowing comes. I can open to another life that's wide and timeless. So, I am sometimes like a tree, rustling over a grave and making real the dream of the one its living roots embrace. A dream once lost among sorrows and songs. I love the dark hours of my being. I've been involved in many winter solstice traditions and many winter celebrations over the years, the decades here at CSLDallas. We partnered for years with Amy Martin and the pagan and Wiccan communities, and we had huge winter solstice celebrations in a lot of different places, and primarily the last, dozen or so in the Cathedral of Hope. And in preparing every year was something new, and in preparing these feasts and festivals and these celebrations that would be hours long, there was always that moment in the dark where we would turn off all the lights and everything would go dark. And I remember having really profoundly deep conversations with Amy, who was basically the leader of this whole thing that was created with jugglers and performers, and I often spoke or read or was very involved, our music, all kinds of things, and we would talk about it, and she said, we're the biggest winter solstice celebration in the U.S., but we do something really different. We actually, in those 3 moments when we sit in the darkness, we embrace it. We don't fight against it. And we're not trying to get rid of it. That was a moment for me. Because I grew up on the hero's journey. right? The hero's journey. Overcome darkness. Light is always going to win. Overcome the darkness. But what if that's actually not the story of the winter solstice? What if this green tree actually has something very different to show us and teach us? This green tree was decorated outside, and what was drug into the house centuries and centuries ago were the limbs of the green and the berries. And the whole house would be filled with the smell. And the green would drape over the fireplace and over the lintel, because people didn't have money. They went out into the forest that was right outside their door. And they brought in the green and the berries, reminding that life continued. Because in Northern Europe, when it snowed, that snow was on the ground the entire winter. And the further north you went into the Arctic Circle, the further north, the less light there was, until in the very far reaches of Lapland and places like that, the sun wouldn't rise at all. And there was no food to be had. Everything had to be stored. And they had to eat on what they had stored all winter. And that greenery and those berries were a promise and a reminder that in the midst of all of this, that beautiful life was still there. This tree was actually not brought into the house until the 1600s in Germany. The first Christmas tree was brought into the house, but it had been celebrated for so long. So as I said, this time is generally framed as the battle of light and dark. And when I first started thinking about the winter solstice, talking about the winter solstice, teaching about the winter solstice, right, we talked about how way back, millennium ago, people would bring out the bonfires, especially the further north you went. They would bring out the bonfires at night, and they would dance around, and they make a lot of noise and do all of that. And the way that I had been taught and the way that I had heard it was to chase away the dark and to somehow plead for the sun to come back. As if the darkness was a problem. But they had learned how to survive in the dark. They had learned how to feast on what they had brought in during the summer months, what they had cured. And actually, inside the home was snug and warm. And they maybe were not as afraid of the dark as we've been taught. Maybe it's actually this idea, not of the dark, but of the shadow. The shadow that we hide from ourselves, right? That's what the shadow is. All those things that we shove into the shadow. It's not the dark, but our own shadow that we have learned to be afraid of. And that is a big piece of what the hero's journey is about, that we confront the shadow and we do battle with it, our inner demons. Yet we persist in explaining winter solstice as this way of battling the dark. And as I've been reflecting on this over the years, and since all this deep conversation with Amy, and continually doing this work for myself, and then we saw this amazing film. We saw The Eternal Spring, The Eternal Song, 40 of us. They're huddled in Barong Lounge, 40 of us, with this amazing film. And it talked about how the native people, the First Nations in Canada, in the US, in Brazil, in Australia, the Native people, the indigenous people, how they were dragged out of their own spirituality, even their own language, and were forced into schools. It was heartbreaking. Not that I didn't know that that was the case, but to hear survivors speak about it and with their families. And this is the problem. This is the problem with the way that we've been taught and the way that we have perceived Native and indigenous people all around the world, that they are somehow uncivilized, simply scratching out an existence. That's how I first took up the winter solstice 40 years ago. We're banging our drums to scare away the dark because we're afraid the sun isn't going to come back. Okay, so at that movie, a gentleman stood up, a white man, a little bit older white man, and he said, but what about me? Where are my ancestors? Who are my ancestors? Well, that's an interesting question, isn't it? Because we think of the whites as being the colonizers. Whites as the ones who have created this story about First Nation people all around the world. Who are my ancestors? We talked a little bit about it, and I went away and I thought about it, and then you can go to ancestry.com and you can learn about your grandparents and and some lineage, let's say. My grandfather did the same thing. He found the lineage of my dad's side of the family. We were landed gentry in 970 in southern Germany. Whatever that meant, who knows? But are they our ancestors? When we think of ancestors, right, is it just those generations before us? And then I remembered my experience in Copenhagen. So I grew up German, right? I grew up very German. We were told we were German, and we have proof because we have what's called the Lebenspass from my parents and my grandparents. The Lebenspass is the pass to live. And in that pass, the Nazis documented the generations, 5 generations, to prove that you had no Jewish in your history. And you had to walk around with that in your pocket. I'm sorry to say I burned my mothers and fathers. It was so painful. But then I received my grandparents when my dad passed away. And so those are a certain kind of ancestry, that lineage that we can follow. On my mother's side, apparently we're 164th French. There's some French grandmother in there, slipped in, who knows how. But where are our ancestors? And I remember when I went to Copenhagen on my sabbatical, and I got on my little bike, I was renting the bikes, I was riding around Copenhagen on this rented bike that you could just drop off anywhere, and they had millions of bike ways, and I walked through the squares of Copenhagen, and I said, oh my God, these are my people. I had never had that experience before. Tall, blonde, outgoing, outdoorsy. I mean, they swam in their harbor. Their harbor was so clean. These are my people. I have never felt as home anywhere in the world, including Germany, as I did in Copenhagen. And when that question was asked, and I went home and I reflected on it, I thought, I am so freaking Nordic. But I only realized that about 15 years ago. While I have German lineage, my physicality is actually Nordic in a big way. My ancestors. Where are our ancestors? And those people, pre-current history, pre-almost any written history, like any native First Nations people in the world, there were actually indigenous people living in all these areas. But we don't hear about them. We only hear about Western civilization post the Roman Empire. Pre the Roman Empire, pre all of that, the indigenous people of Europe are what we today call pagans. The Gauls, the Celts, the Franks, the Norse people, their native traditions are what we call today pagan. Pagan was a pejorative word because they were not Christian. That's what pagan meant. Therefore, to be converted. And what are pagan? What is the pagan traditions? There's the Germanic paganism, Norse paganism, Goth paganism, Celt paganism, right? And they're all different, but they all share some basic things, right? As all First Nation people do. And what is that? Embedded in nature. It's where we got the goddess tradition in the West. It is where we got the horned god, which, as you know, is the precursor of what we understand the devil looks like. These are the people who gave us Stonehenge and stone circles. They gave us the idea of Mother Nature. They also gave us unicorns and elves and fairies and the very fairy tales that Disney makes movies out of. All of that comes from that pre-time, that where the native people of Europe were embedded in nature in this most extraordinary way. And I promise you, they knew about the seasons and cycles of life. Every stone circle shows us that. Stonehenge, which they still haven't figured out how old it is and how long it's been there and how they did that, right? Totally built for the solstices on the lunar calendar, for the understanding of the seasons and the cycles. They knew about that. They also knew about the magic of the world, embedded in nature. Not just elves and fairies, but the actual power of the spoken word to create, to speak truth. It has come to us today as witchcraft, mostly promulgated by the wise women. Women who understood about herbs and healing, who understood about attitude and how important attitude is in the growth of one's own life. They planted by the moon, they harvested by the calendar, by the cycles and seasons, not just because it was convenient to plant on a certain day. Oh no, they were completely embedded in a wholeness with life itself. So I think that with this tree that gets lit and these beautiful greenery that gets brought in and the bonfire with the drums and all of that, perhaps actually what they are celebrating is the fact that life exists and flourishes in the darkness. Because after all, what's happening in your garden in the middle of winter as it lies fallow? Do you know? There is so much activity. The roots are growing underneath. The roots are massively growing during winter, during that fallow time, making something powerful and ready for spring. And maybe it's not just, oh, there's light in the midst of darkness. Maybe what's really true, which has been known in the East for years, is that light and dark are actually, let me stop for a minute. I'm going to show you these. I show you this map. Here's the map. So the map of the pagan world, right? It's that orange, it's that blue. It's a huge swath of Northern Europe where we are talking about. Okay, so that's what that's the area where the Christmas tree, the Yule tree, comes from. So this, what if, in fact, what is being celebrated is that in the darkness is light, life, and in the light there's also darkness. Right? This is fundamentally what the yin-yang symbol teaches us. In the Hinduism, the idea is that the oneness of the infinite is absolute as we understand it. It is the causal reality. But the moment it is manifested through the pairs of opposites, which make creation possible. So if I ask you, in the infinite spirit, or we might say in God, where is up? You're like, what? Because there is no opposite. When we think of absolute joy, there is no opposite to absolute joy, absolute truth. There's no opposite. It is the full potential possibility and availability of joy in its entirety. But the moment it comes into manifestation, into physical form, you must have the pairs of opposites. Otherwise, you have no form and you have no time. The pairs of opposites are what create space and time, up and down, hot and cold, future and past. And we have incorporated those pairs of opposites as opposites. And yet the yin-yang symbol is not about the opposite. It is not about there being darkness in the light or there being light in the darkness. It is actually about the fact that these are complementary. They're designed, if you imagine it, for that wheel to be, it's not that the whole symbol is spinning. It's that that little dot of white is actually pulling the white into the black, taking over the dark at the same time that the dark is doing that in the white. And it is a constantly shifting and moving, harmonious, balanced, complementary of the light and the dark in the dance of life. In this dance that is required for creation. It's like art, negative space shows us, right, where the image is. These are not opposites at all, but they're complementary. They're complements that make the whole. Complements. Absolute and relative, tangible and intangible, spirit and matter, not opposites, actually not separated at all. That's what we mean by the one. We mean the whole. We mean all of it, the wholeness of it. That which is absolute and that which is formed out of these pairs. But if they are to be a wholeness, they have to be a complement, not an opposite. And the minute that we do that, we no longer have to fight the dark. Do you see? It's a dance. It's the dance of wholeness. And I think that's what we celebrate at winter solstice and why we've learned to bring the greenery in the red and the berries, is to remind us in the dark or in the cold or in the, I wish it would be better, I wish I could be, comfortable again, that there is actually something powerful going on and we're invited into it. Because notice in the yin-yang symbol, the black and the white are the same size. equally necessary and important. I think this is what Ernest Holmes means by the dual unity. The wholeness, spirit and matter, dual unity, the wholeness of it, which when we say it's all one, that's what we mean. All right, a little more history. So you saw that previous slide. Let's go back to that previous slide. Here we are. That's the pagan, kind of where that all was in Northern Europe, where we got all these wonderful ideas of garlands and all of that. And so in 1117 AD, this was the extent of the Roman Empire. And as you can see, they have taken over the bulk of Europe, along with the Middle East, all the way around the Mediterranean. And they were one of the empires that swept across Israel. And we learned, we always learned about the Maccabees during the Hanukkah. And this one of the many empires that have ruled in this area, this time, all around the Mediterranean. But the Roman Empire was the first one to go north. They reached England in 70 AD. Interestingly enough, at the time, Rome themselves were pagan. It was just a different kind of paganism, right? And as you recall, we learned it in Western civilization. We learned about the Greek and the Roman gods, right? The Greek god, and it was the, they had one name, and then they turned into another name because they were just like everything else, just brought forward. And they had a pantheon of gods. And then, what happened? Constantinople had his vision of the cross so that he could defeat the armies. He went on in 312 to defeat other armies, and over a period, and because of that, he accepted Christianity because he was told, if you accept Christianity, you will win this war. And of course, then he did. So he accepted Christianity, and in 380 CE, the Roman Empire became Christian. That was when it was adopted as a national religion, Catholicism. And look where they are. So, as Christianity swept through the Roman Empire and Roman paganism was set aside, so is all the local paganism. But the thing you have to know about this, which is so fascinating, most empires, when they conquer, they cart people off. They take them as slaves, or they take them and they cart them off and they kill them, or they like to cart them off. That's what happened to a lot of places. We carted off the Native Americans off to, the reservations, and it's happened. And interestingly enough, it's the one thing the Roman Empire did not do. They built forts, but they left their people to live in the towns. They wanted their people to marry the locals, so that the time of the Roman Empire was considered the Pax Romana, the peace of Rome, because they didn't cart people off. They simply said, "You're Roman now. Yeah, I know, you do your gods and we do our gods, but we're all Roman," until Christianity came. And as Christianity filtered through the Roman Empire, and they came into the north where all of these pagan traditions were being celebrated, rather than making it wrong, the way that we've heard it was done in our movie, The Eternal Song, they didn't make it wrong. What they said was, "Oh, look, you've been doing it all along. Those holly branches, those thorns, well, those are the thorns that were on Christ's forehead when Jesus was crucified. Those berries, those are the drops of blood. Those represent that. You were doing this all along." They got into Ireland, and the primary goddess was Bridget in many ways. She was the goddess of many things, including spring and the renewal and all kinds of things. And it was just, "Oh, look, well, we have a Saint Bridget. You've been honoring Bridget all along." And so rather than fighting about it, it was simply subsumed. Do you see? Simply subsumed in. The holy wells of Ireland, right, became the wells of God, bringing forth the holy water. Well, it had always been holy because it was always a gift of life. How easy it is to just say, oh, well, you were doing it anyway. I will stop here and say that sometimes I hear people in Science of Mind and New Thought say that. They read about some indigenous people or some ancient philosopher or some ancient tradition, and they say, look, they were practicing science of mind back then. No, they weren't. We are a product of that lineage. Do you see? We are the product of that lineage. Science of Mind and New Thought has an ancient lineage that goes all the way back to the mystery schools and the indigenous peoples and the philosophers from all over the world, all of that drawn in. We're always in the mystical side of each of these traditions. And we are pulling out of that, but or we're the sort of next evolution of that. But they weren't practicing the science of mind. Do you see? So we have to be careful that we don't do that ourselves. Anyway, that's my little side, so there you go. So on my sabbatical was the first time, oh my goodness, look at the time. I have to stop. Oh, no, I'm not ready to stop. Okay, I'm going to edit. Woo! So we found a Black Madonna in the church in which my mother was married to my father. That Black Madonna had been carried around in the woods of that area of Germany from as far back as the 5th century. So they were still practicing their local traditions, but they were bringing in, right, marrying it to the Christian tradition. In the 11th century, that Black Madonna was brought into the church and a chapel was made for her. And when we went in there, and it was just overwhelmingly amazing to experience, there was not one Christian iconography in there. Just the Black Madonna in her beautiful case. All the iconography was berries and bees and wheat and a moon and sun. That's the only iconography that was in that whole chapel. It was so extraordinarily moving. And so when we think about this tradition that is the ancestry of many of us and much of Western civilization that was subsumed into Christianity, that pagan tradition, whichever one it might have been, was deep in the roots. Do you see? Deep in the roots of life. And when the women, and we find this in the native traditions today, when you study, and the women, they talk about going down into the womb of creation. They go into caves, they go into dark places, and there's a opportunity for that darkness to be revelatory, to go inside the bones of the earth, I was taught. Crawl into the bones of the earth. And it's dark and it's messy, and sometimes it's a little stinky because it's really organic. Sound like parts of our lives, right? Embracing the shadow, loving the darkness, allowing what is there to be revealed, what is there to come forward, not out of fear, but out of revelation. And of course, as Jung said, not only is there our stuff there back there in the shadow, but there's the golden shadow. There's all of our greatness that we haven't owned. There's all the ways in which we are the light that frighten us, as Marianne Williamson says, and so we shove that into the shadow as well. And the only way to find it is to go into the darkness, to recognize that we are spirit human, we are of the earth, we are part of this life. That is a part of the wholeness, and to embrace. Embrace the messiness. Embrace the organic nature of the unfolding. The manifestation isn't always like that. And it's not always easy and graceful. Sometimes it requires effort and sweat, and it requires us to look at things we don't want to look at so it can be healed, or accept things we've been afraid to accept. Do you see? There's so much richness in this ancestry as there is in all the richness of all the ancestries that we have become disembedded from. And so when we do this, we can remind ourselves it's impossible to become disembedded except for in our minds and hearts. We cannot get out of the one. That includes the cave, the womb, the messy, organic reality of who we are. Ernest Holmes writes a number of things, which I now have to get on my PowerPoint so I can read it. So this comes from the Declaration of Principles. The physical universe is the manifest body of the infinite reality, and the one infinite reality is more than the physical universe. Creation is an expression of the one infinite reality. It is inherently good, including the caves, including the dark, including the night. It is inherently good and is ever evolving toward greater expression of good. That's our Declaration of Principles. From the third principle that we are teaching in our class is a rewrite of basically that. Creation is the third principle that we teach. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. How can the dark be anything other than part of the wholeness if it's part of the manifestation of the divine? To allow our human, messy, organic reality to be as joyful as our desire to stand in the spiritual truth and simply have ease and grace and never have anything messy ever again. CSL Global Vision writes this: we envision a world which has renewed its emphasis on beauty, nature, and love through the resurgence of creativity, art, and aesthetics. Aesthetics. Putting candles on a tree, bringing greenery into the home to bring an ambiance, a feeling, something that fills our soul. Love the dark. It is where rest, peace, quiet, and renewal are available, as well as the work that we do with our shadow. I think in Science of Mind, this pair of opposites is being and becoming. Being is the evergreen of life. It is what we see on the tree in the green. Becoming are the seasons and cycles of creation. It is being and becoming that make the wholeness. We want to focus on being, learn about being, but we want to also embrace becoming. So, Gary, I'm going to ask you to come up here and start putting out some of these candles. I think that we should put them out now, and while you're doing that, I am going to read one more poem. This is by David White. Sweet Darkness. When your eyes are tired, the world is tired also. When your vision is gone, no part of the world can find you. Time to go into the dark. where the night has eyes to recognize its own. There you can be sure you are not beyond love. The dark will be your womb tonight. The night will give you a horizon further than you can see. You must learn one thing. The world was made to be free in. Give up all the other worlds except the one to which you belong. Sometimes it takes darkness and the sweet confinement of your aloneness to learn. Anything or anyone that does not bring you alive is too small for you. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Brenda, do we turn these out, or do we just let them burn down? Let them burn down. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm back. Hey, and now is the time for our offering. So please give generously to the work of CSL Dallas and be a force for good in the world and in your own life. Let's read our affirmation together. I recognize the divine in everything. I have confidence in the future and enthusiastic expectation of my good. I joyously attract and allow my highest good now. We know great abundance, more success, and deep peace are CSL, our community, and for the world. We stand together as a blessing in our world, and so it is. Hey, remember there are many ways that you can give. You can donate online by going to the Give button on CSLDallas.org, or you can write a check or put the cash in the offering basket that's being handed out now. Now, are you someone who sets intentions but struggles to see them show up in your life? Well, do you ever wonder why your dreams stay in the realm of possibility instead of becoming your reality? Join us for the Power of Decision, a transformative experience designated to help you bridge the gap between the intention and action and step confidently into your greatest life. This 8-week course is based on the book, The Power of Decision by Raymond Charles Barker. You'll explore the myths and hidden beliefs that keep you stuck, understand the spiritual and personal reasons we avoid deciding, and discover how making clear, committed choices becomes the focusing agent that moves your life forward. This is more than just a course. It's an invitation to awaken your inner power, to decide to be happy, live richly, be healthy, be creative, and more. Practitioners Christina Volkner and Tina Tenen will meet you where you are, help you examine what's holding you back from your own greatness, and inspire you to take meaningful action. If you're ready to co-create something new and finally turn your intentions into lived experiences, don't miss the opportunity to empower your decisions and enhance the quality of your life. Head over to the education page at CSLDallas.org and get registered now. Lastly, be here on December 27th for Dr. Petra's retirement reception at CSL Dallas, featuring fabulous hors d'oeuvres, intimate conversation, and share your gratitude and best wishes with Dr. Petra. Come anytime between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. You can also give to the Petra's Magic Money Fund for her to refresh her soul with a spiritual retreat as a thank you for all that she's given to us. Then on December 28th, join us for her final Sunday celebration, which includes a powerful ritual of passing the baton to Reverend Marquita and to the whole community. The morning includes special guests Michael Gott and Lainey Bernstein. Everyone is invited to both events, so make sure that you come around and hang out next weekend.
I just want to remind you, if you've seen anything that is not correct, our Christmas Eve service is actually on Christmas Eve, Wednesday the 24th. There were a few places where it had a different date, which I'm not going to say out loud. Wednesday the 24th. The Christmas Eve service is, in fact, on Christmas Eve.
All right. So be here.
6:30 to 8.
So guys, as always, it's lovely being in community with you. So join us by standing so we can sing our way out of here.